Imagine we have built our library, but all books are called books. But does it really help you to find out the right book and fast? Today, we are going to solve that problem. Hello, everyone, again. In chapter 1, we built our digital library catalog, but a catalog is useless if every book is simply labeled as book, as I just explained a few minutes before. Our retail team needs to know the difference between the warehouse server and the front store self checkout part. Today, we will dive into the DNA of our data, and we are going to beyond label to understand our what are classes and inheritance, the building blocks of the CMDB. So let's dive into it. Think of our configuration item as an individual Lego brick. Every brick in the Nowvengers empire follows a blueprint. In ServiceNow, we call that blueprint as a class where exactly the data is stored. The class is the mold used to make the bricks, where the brick is blue for London stores, a red is for Tokyo store, and the mold ensures that every 2 by 4 brick has the same number of studs. In our library, the mold ensures that every server has a serial number and an IP address no matter which store it is. Every item in our retail world shares some basic DNA. We call the master blueprint the configuration item table, which you see on the top of the graph. That is also a technical name. We call it CMDB underscore CI. This is the base of the CMDB class. From here, we use inheritance, just like the inheritance in your height or from the parents. Like, for example, you get the height from the parents, eyes from the parent. Similarly, we use the inheritance. Also, you can also refer this as an object-oriented class inheritance property, right? So, for example, Linux server is actually inherited from the server. So all the properties of the servers will be inherited towards the Linux servers, which means there are some attributes there which are common used in the server class. That could be IP address, that could be a serial number, same would be in the Linux servers. But Linux server could have a different properties to it. It might have different fields to store the values which are not applicable for example, Windows servers, or it's not applicable for the generic server class. And that's why we call this as a child table, which stores the value, a bigger value over there. That's how we call it the DNA flow. Ensure that if we update a rule at the top, it flows down to the every device in every store instantly. So for example, if I add a new attribute on a CMDB CI class, it will flow down to the every class inheritance automatically. Why does this matter for Nowvengers Retail Store? Standardization. We don't want 500 different ways to describe a register. By using a standard class, we ensure that every team from security to finance speaks the same technical language. And this is how we report on 10,000 stores globally in 1 second. We aren't searching for cash boxes. We are searching for the point of sale class, which is a constant in entire organization. And that's why we don't look into my different sales terminal checkout. We don't create different classes. We just, hey, we have one standardized class called POS terminal class, or we call in our CMD we have POS, just point of sale device. We store that value. And as I told you, standardization is quite important. How it is organized in our CMDB, I'll show you that at the moment when we go into our demo session. All right, so let's get into the demos, and let's start with how do we actually find where is the class manager, where do we see our all DNAs and all our classes. So of course you can find from here. There are different ways to do it, but this is very class manager. So if you type CI class manager, you can click over here and it will take you to the CI class manager. Yes, and over here you can see, you can type and find it out where is the server. If you remember, we talk about server class, Linux class, how the inheritance works. So you can see it first start from the base, which is configuration item, as well as we started over here CMDB CI. And where does the Linux servers go? Actually it's a child table. So that's the value. If you click on it, you get into the technical name over here. That's the name of the technical. This is a display name. What is the type of the description? We can talk about the managed by group. Maybe when we talk about in CSTM, it's how it is very useful. And there are some other properties where you can look into the what is a class info and everything. We can deep dive into this topic very much. What is the use of a principal class, what is extensible and everything on the left hand side. But for now, I'll just give you a quick demo what is actually how the inheritance works. As you can see, the breadcrumb over here on top. Also, let's say if you want to create a new class in here, so you can definitely create a new class over here. Go here on the configuration item. You can click on here. If you add child class, it will inherit all the properties from the configuration item. But if you go in Linux server, and if it is not extensible, probably you won't be able to see the property to extend it. So example from here, Linux, and I say, hey, I want to add the child class. Why it is not? Because it's not extensible. Usually if you want to extend anything from server class, it is extensible. That's why you are able to extend it. That's the property. I gave you a quick demo over there. And as I told you, there are different ways to find out the class manager, but also from the headquarter, as we mentioned about in the previous video, you can definitely go to my playlist and find it out. How do we manage to come over here? Plus, you can go to the management tab, and as you can see over here, we can also click on under the manage button. There's a CI class manager. It will also redirect you to the CI class manager. So yeah, there's different ways to find it out. You can also find it via ETL definitions. Very less people actually know. That's a trick if you don't know that, but if we don't have that value over here, but yeah, you can find it out over here also. All right, so that was it about what is class and class manager. How do you navigate to them? What is the significance of using the CI class manager? How the data is structured? I'll put some links in description about the task. You can go through it step by step and you can create your own new class. There's a small challenge for you. It's very easy. And you can also find it out what's the difference between the custom class and the out of the box class. You can tell in the description or in the comment, hey, this is what I see, and if you have any questions, let me know about it. And outstanding work, guys. You have mastered the class section. In next chapter, we will look what is the difference between the asset or a CI, or I would call it receipt or the reality. Stay tuned for the new chapter. Thank you very much and see you. Bye-bye.